Everybody. Welcome to Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventures. Just Dave here. Today I'm talking about the movie Hitman. This is going to be a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen the movie yet and you are concerned about spoilers, I would suggest you go and watch the movie first before you watch this review. So, Hitman is a romantic action comedy film directed and produced by Richard Linklater, who co-wrote the screenplay with Glen Powell, based on a Texas Monthly magazine article of the same name by Skip Hollandsworth. It stars Glen Powell, Adria Arjona, Austin, Amelio, and Retta. Follows an undercover New York police contractor who poses as a reliable hitman, and he tries to save a woman who's in need. So overall, what I liked about the movie, I liked Glen Powell as Gary Johnson. I basically just know him from Top Gun, and I guess Everybody Wants Some. I haven't seen the Sydney Sweeney movie he made. But yeah, I thought he was good in this. As it's a fun role. He got to play a lot of different characters and do different accents and kind of dress up and do that kind of stuff. So yeah, really fun. I can see why, he would enjoy this kind of thing. Adria Arjona, again, I know her from, she was in like a Tin Man series years ago that was like on TV, Sci-Fi Channel or something. And I liked it. And I remember she was good in it. And I figured I'd see more from her. And then she kind of just, I didn't see her much till like Andor. So she's been doing stuff. I didn't see it, whatever it was. I also liked Austin Amelio as Jasper. He was really fun. I should have looked him up. I'm sure I've seen him in other stuff, probably more Richard Linklater stuff, but he was great. Just kind of a dirtbag, greasy kind of character. I always liked that kind of character. He was really fun. Retta's in here. She's kind of playing the same character she played in Parks and Rec. That's really what I know her from, but still really good and really fun. And Sanjay Rao, I don't know him. I hadn't seen him in anything before, or if I do, I don't remember, but he was really great. I really liked him as the one of the other cops, one of his kind of cop friends. Cinematography in this was by Shane F. Kelly. He's done pretty much all of Richard Linklater stuff since Scanner Darkly. Music is by Graham Reynolds. I really liked it. He also works with Linklater a lot, so he did Scanner Darkly, Bernie, Before Midnight, Last Flag Flying, all that kind of stuff. Soundtrack, really cool soundtrack. They've got a lot of good like New Orleans style music. So you got New Orleans Bump by Jelly Roll Morton, Space Zydeco by Buckwheat Zydeco, 99+1 by June Gardner, My Walking Stick by Leon Redbone, a couple Dr. John songs in there too. I thought I heard Buddy Bolden say and Such a Night. So always good stuff. I love Dr. John. He was from New Orleans, I believe, as well. So like that fit and everything was really good. I really liked the story. I think it was a fun story. It's a really fun idea. It's based on a true story about a guy who worked for the cops as an undercover fake hitman. And it's great. It's one of those, as soon as you hear it, like, wait, this is a job? Can I apply for this? Is this something that I could, like, this sounds like fun. It sounds like a really fun job, In the movie throughout, there's some very good humor. There's some funny stuff with, again, that dirtbag character whose name I've heard, Jasper. He does some funny stuff like sniffing around and all that kind of stuff, and just his overall demeanor. Them having to switch pants over, before they interrogate the guy was a funny scene as well. There's a lot of good stuff with Adria Arjona. I really liked all the different little weird side characters who hire Gary throughout too. A lot of them have just been kind of actors who have been around and done stuff. I looked up, the one woman looked really familiar, and I looked her up, and she's not someone who I exactly recognize, but she's been a working actor for a long time, a comedian who's done a bunch of stuff. So I'm the rich older lady kind of. So yeah, just fun little weird side characters. They all had a lot of like kind of very uniqueness and kind of very distinct kind of characters, and I really enjoyed that. And I liked watching sort of Gary's evolution as a character as well. And I think Glen Powell did a pretty good job. He's got the glasses in the beginning, and his posture is kind of hunched over, and you can see toward the end he kind of loses the glasses, and he walks more confidently. He doesn't like put his hands behind his hips as much and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was fun to see, and I really enjoyed that. And there's a sort of wire scene at the end with him and Adria Arjona, I hope I'm saying her name right, where he has to kind of like confront her, but then give her notes on the phone to say like, hey, I know what's going on. It's just a really fun scene. It's well acted. It's well planned out and stuff. She does a really good job in it as well, and he's great. So yeah, it's really fun. They're kind of like laughing and like start to like smile and joke around as they kind of realize what's going on there. And it's really fun. I don't know how he was able to type so quickly, especially with Jasper there the whole drive over, but a little suspension of disbelief. That's fine. The movie's just overall, it's just really fun. It's just kind of a fun, goofy, silly kind of movie. It's got like very cool vibes. It reminds me a lot of just like a 90s movie, or just kind of movie that I would watch as a kid. The kind of movie that like, they'd show on TBS or whatever. Just kind of like a silly, goofy little kind of throwaway movie that, it's not going to solve any problems of the world or anything like that. It's not going to maybe change who you are as a person, but it's a good 2 hours, a good way to kind of, watch and waste some time, I guess, And I do like that they gave a tribute to the real Gary Johnson in the end, and they did mention that he didn't kill anyone. They made all that up. So that I appreciate that at least. As far as what I disliked about this, Glen Powell to me is a little unbelievable as a nerd. Like I said, he did a good job with his posture and the glasses, but it's also a little bit of like, well, look, he must be a nerd. He wears glasses, but it's also like, clearly he's in good shape. Like he's, I guess I know him from the Top Gun movie, so I'm more like, hey, well, that's clearly the guy from Top Gun. Like, what are you talking about? But whatever. But I understand he did as well as he could have. I didn't expect the guy to like lose weight or whatever. But it also does in some ways seem like it's like two or three movies kind of shoved together. Like it kind of starts out of this kind of wacky caper where it's like this guy working for the cops, and then it becomes like a romantic comedy, and then toward the end it turns like into like a dark comedy kind of thing. And it's just like, okay, I get it, and it's fun because you kind of don't exactly know where it's going to go. But yeah, especially toward the end there when her husband comes up dead, and I really expected them to play that out longer and kind of play with did she do it or not kind of thing. And it literally within like 2 minutes, she's like, I did it, I killed him, and it's like, oh, okay, well, okay, and then he immediately just like, well, not immediately accepted, but he kind of just pretty quickly kind of figures out like, hey, and he kind of accepts his fate with this. I feel like maybe the trailer kind of made it seem like they were going to play it out a little more. And I feel like maybe I wanted that, or I would have appreciated that more. Or honestly, if they would have just kind of done that stuff differently, because again, all that stuff is made up. So if maybe they would have just made it so it seemed like she killed her husband and they weren't sure if she did or not, or if he somehow killed himself through an accident, or if something else happened. I was just a little kind of unsure about that stuff. And I also feel like them killing Jasper, even though Jasper was a dirtbag and he did try to, blackmail them, and he was a bad cop. He also, I feel like I don't know if he needed to, if he deserved to die, kind of thing, And I mean, they did say, oh, he was racist and sexist and misogynist, and it's like, well, yeah, I guess he was. They didn't show a lot of him being exactly racist or whatever. And I guess he beat up some kids, so that's bad. But still, should he have died? I don't know. And again, it's fine. I understand it's a movie and it's a dark comedy, but also up till that point in the movie, hadn't really done a lot of. And same thing with her husband. He seemed like a bad guy. He was going to hire a hitman to kill her. So yeah, okay, I guess he maybe deserved to die, or I'm not too upset about him dying, but I don't know. I don't know. And I think the fact that they did make stuff up always kind of bothers me. And I don't even know if I sort of agree with like the thesis of the movie, which seems to be that like, you can change. You can still change who you are. It's never too late to change. And usually that's to become a better person. In this case, it's kind of to become a more assertive person, I guess, which is fine. But I guess I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, or if I think the movie did a good job of showing that. Because if so, then wouldn't Jasper been able to change to a better person, or her husband, or some of these people who did? I don't know. It just seems a little confused. And they even have you sit down, like the stuff in the school where you're sitting with the students and kind of explaining, hey, here's the point of the movie, or here's what I think, kind of thing, which to me was a little over the top. I don't always like it when a movie just comes out and tells you exactly what the point of the movie is supposed to be. But you got some young actors in there, I guess it was a good way, although they weren't all that young. But either way, and I also don't think their happy ending is going to last very well. I feel like she, and again, these are fictional characters, I'm overthinking it, but it seems like maybe she needs some mental help because she seems a little, a little quick to want to kill people, or even like brandish the gun, and some of the other stuff seemed a little questionable. And I feel like, I mean, yeah, in the movie, I think we're supposed to buy they truly love each other and they would do anything for each other, but I don't know. I also feel like, how you meet him is how you lose him, right? Like if I were that guy, I'd be worried the entire time this woman's going to kill me as well, because I know what she's capable of, right? I don't know. But other than that, I'm probably overthinking it. I'm sure it's a fun, silly movie. But either way, the movie is directed by Richard Linklater. He's done a bunch of stuff, Waking Life, School of Rock, Fast Food Nation, Slacker was kind of his first big thing. It was written by Richard Linklater, who wrote all of his movies pretty much, the Before trilogy, Dazed and Confused, one of my favorites. Everybody Wants Some. I think I said that. And then Glen Powell. Powell also wrote this. His only credit before this is he worked on a short called Jaw, Jaw. I don't know what it is. But he's also listed as having a writing credit on Captain Planet, which hasn't come out yet, and Chad Powers, which also hasn't come out. So apparently he's writing more stuff. Now, granted, they may never come out, but and it's based on a story called Hitman by Skip Hollandsworth, who writes for I think I said it earlier, some Texas newspaper, Houston, Texas Monthly Magazine. Yeah, he also wrote Bernie. So this is the second time that Richard Linklater has adapted something based on one of his articles. So that's pretty interesting. Budget on this one is 8.8 million. It actually made about $1 million at the box office because they did do a limited 1 week theatrical run. I thought about seeing it, but instead I figured I'd wait a week for it to come out on Netflix. But yeah, this isn't the kind of movie they're trying to make a bunch of money on or whatever. It's more just something for Netflix to have. I think actually they spent like 20 million to get the rights to it. So either way though, but critics are liking this, and so are the people. Rotten Tomato scores on this one, 97% for the critics and 93% for the audience. So both people are really liking it. I did wonder in the movie why they moved it from Houston to New Orleans. I know Richard Linklater is, I'm pretty sure, from Texas. At least, yeah, that's where Dazed and Confused and all those movies are set. So, but apparently it was just due to financial reasons. It was cheaper to shoot in New Orleans. So, hey, that's good. And New Orleans can always use I'm sure whatever, whatever they can get there. So a lot of the stuff in the movie is actually based on true stories. So like the scene with the kid giving him video games is based on a real Houston teenager, Sean Quinn, he had an IQ of like 131, I guess. He gave him 7 Atari computer games, $3 bills, and $2.30 in nickels and dimes to kill a male classmate that he thought was trying to win the affection of a girl he liked. So, okay, not his mom, like in the movie, but still, that's pretty interesting. And apparently, it was actually the story about him sort of talking a woman out of murder may or may not have been true. It sounds like they didn't actually date in real life or anything like that, and I'm sure she didn't look like Adria Arjona. But yeah, he actually in real life was married like 3 times, though, and divorced 3 times as well, I think. So the movie took some liberties, but it seems like for the most part they made it a nice sort of tribute to the guy's life. And he died early on in the filming process in 2022, I believe. But and he actually never met Richard Linklater, but they did talk over the phone. And so I assume he was at least okay with the whole like, yeah, okay, make up some murder stuff, And even if he wasn't, well, I'm sure he was fine with it. Let's say he was. But I really liked the movie. It was fun. Like I said, it's not the best movie in the world. There are some kind of issues with it if you kind of, for me at least, if you think about it a little too much. But if you kind of just shut that part of your brain off and just enjoy it for what it is, just kind of a fun little silly romantic comedy, and it's pretty sexy, and like I think the sex scenes are well directed. They're sort of done with like a female gaze, so I appreciated that. So yeah, my score on this is an 8 out of 10. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. One of my favorite movies, and especially for free on Netflix. I mean, like, yeah, absolutely. So I really liked the movie. But if you saw the movie, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great night, and I will see you here again next week.